Hi, my name is Lauren Hardy and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about where to find the best places to find a house to flip. If you don't know much about me already, I am a virtual real estate investor, meaning that I invest all throughout the country. I don't just invest in my backyard. So I have gotten really good at finding target markets to find deeply discounted properties. And if you stay tuned at the end of this video, I am gonna share with you an absolute ninja trick that I use to find the best zip codes everywhere. Believe me, when I learned this trick, I realized I was wasting so much money in marketing dollars. I never buy marketing lists until I do this trick first. So make sure you watch this entire video. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the type of markets that are great to be flipping in. I'm gonna also talk about why I personally chose to go virtual versus the market in my backyard. And lastly, I'm gonna show you how to find the best zip codes in any market to flip houses. So let's get into it. Number one, what are the best markets to flip houses in? I would say the first place to look is look at the average house price of the county you may be interested in. Within every price point, you're going to find a different challenge. In a higher end price point, so let's just say $350,000 average house price point or above, you are gonna find that it is harder to find discounted deals, or you're gonna find it harder to convince a seller to take a discount on their home because it's a nicer area. Now, if you're in an area like me, Orange County, California, where the average house price is $850,000, it's probably going to feel near impossible to convince a seller to take a discount on their home. So markets where the average house price is very high, it gets harder to find the deals, and you might find that you aren't going to consistently get flip houses as consistently as you would like. You might maybe get a few a year, whereas you ideally would like to have a more consistent volume. At least that's what I would prefer. But then there's the whole opposite end, right? Is too cheap. In my opinion, markets under 100,000 are way too cheap. In markets like that, what happens is the homes are usually really run down and the cost of construction exceeds the value of the home. If you are in an area where the average house price is under 100,000, you are probably going to have a hard time penciling out the deal and it making any sense. $100,000 areas are probably better for the longer term hold strategy. Those are great markets to take rentals down. They cash flow really well. You might not see much appreciation, but they usually have amazing cash flow opportunities. So maybe those are the markets you think about buying rentals in. Now let's talk about the really, really low end, like say $50,000 and below. I would say don't even think about flipping houses there in any traditional sense. You could maybe make it work where you get a deeply discounted home and you just wholesale it really quick, or hotel it, meaning that you buy it, you put it under contract, buy it, and you put it on the MLS and sell it on the MLS without fixing it up. That could be a strategy you do. Also, the very cheap areas, there could be some good long-term hold opportunities as well, but for traditional house flipping like you're probably thinking about, I would say stay away from that. So where is my sweet spot? So my sweet spot is around 150,000 purchase price to 350,000 for flip areas. I like that price range when you're thinking about flipping because there is enough room to say put $40,000, $50,000 in remodeling the home and still selling it at a profit. So I do prefer that area, that target range if I were to be house flipping. So now that you know the type of market, you need to know how to find the best zip codes within that market, right? But before I get into it, I want you to wait because I need to explain why I had to go virtual to find this perfect market. The reason I had to go virtual was because I knew this. I was having a very hard time finding good deals in my market. My average house price is $850,000 where I live. So there's not a lot of opportunity. It's very hard to convince a seller in Southern California to take a discount on their home because they don't really need to. They can put the property on the MLS, get full market price no matter what condition it is in, and there's plenty of cash buyers that would outbid me. After months of facing a lot of inconsistency in finding flip deals, I realized that I did need to find a market that had that sweet spot in pricing. So I made that decision, and it was the best thing because really it opened up the entire United States for me. Now I can go anywhere, and there's plenty of markets that still fit that price range. So it was ideal for me to just get away from California for a while and find a market that's a little less competitive and the price range is a little bit easier to handle. Another big change that I made though was I decided to wholesale more than flip. Wholesaling is a lot easier to do when you're virtual. Flipping is a little bit more difficult. Now, I can't say that it can't be done. It can. If you are going to decide to take your flipping business virtual, I advise that you have a partner who actually lives there that is financially vested in the deal. That way you have another person that's on your side. They're going to profit from the deal. They have money in the deal, and they're going to keep an eye on the property for you since you can't be there every day. So number 3, the moment you've all been waiting for, is how do you find the best zip codes? This ninja trick changed my career. Before I learned this, I used to just market to an entire city or an entire county, and I wasted so much money because I was marketing to territories where I would never buy a deal. For example, I could end up marketing to a zip code that is just completely high-end. There's no distress at all. It's the high-end neighborhood of town. Or the complete low-end where nobody really wants to own homes there. With this technique, I learned how to target the zip codes where the other investors are buying as well. See, you want to follow your competition. Why reinvent the wheel? So what I do periodically is I pull a list of zip codes and I see where the top sales are, which zip codes have the most investor purchases in them, and I target those. I only target zip codes that have the most investor purchases because that's telling me that's the area where there's still deals. That is the up and coming area. It is a very good technique to use. You will save so much on marketing expenses, and you're gonna end up being in zip codes where you're gonna have a lot of comps to show sellers. So when you're talking to a seller, for example, you now are gonna be in a zip code where there's plenty of investor purchases, so you can show them those prices and justify your pricing to them, making it more likely that they will sell to you at that price. The other cool thing about this trick is that any deal that comes up in these zip codes, I always knew that I can wholesale the deal because there's going to be a ton of investors that are buying there. So it was a perfect strategy for me. So let's get into it. I'm going to screen share and show you exactly what I'm talking about with this ninja trick. Okay, so let's get a list of the top zip codes in my territory. This is the front page of ListSource. You are going to select your criteria. I like to look at the entire county, and I'm going to choose Tulsa, Oklahoma. There you go, and you just push add. So you find it, you push add, and then you see how this updates and this updates. You're going to see your count should always update every time you push something. The next thing is I want single family homes because that's what I'm targeting. So I'm going to go to property type, residential, SFR. Stands for single family residence, and see it updated. I also want to do the last market sale date, meaning that I really only want the last 6 months of data. I want to know in the last 6 months where the investors are buying. And you have 2 options here. So you definitely want to click absentee owned. So that's going to tell you all the absentee owners that bought in the last 6 months. You can choose to do either only corporate owned or no preference. Corporate owned is like the more sophisticated investors, so I tend to like to follow them. So I want to know where all the flippers, the landlord buyers that are a little bit more sophisticated, they put their properties in LLCs. I want to know where they're buying. So I select them. I'm gonna leave all the other filters alone. I just clicked absentee owned here and corporate only. And I'm going to do one last scan to make sure I didn't forget anything. So again, I wanted to know, okay, everybody in Tulsa County, within the last 6 months that bought residential single-family residences and are corporate-owned owners. So from there, you're going to go to purchase list, and you're going to go to purchase partial list. Now, ListSource lets you do this for free. Pretty awesome, right? I'm going to click custom selection, zip code. So I just click this, and then I click zip code. You're going to export it. So you are going to email yourself. I put my email in there, but for the sake of this video, I took it out, and you're going to email yourself. Okay, so you're going to go into your email inbox, and you're going to get this list, and I am going to put it into Excel. I'm on a Mac, so it gives it to me in numbers for some reason. Anybody know how to make it stop doing that? Let me know in the comments. Zip codes, Tulsa, save it. And let me go to my desktop, find it. So here's your spreadsheet. Pretty cool, huh? Now I am going to delete this. Okay, I just want it from the zip codes. That's it. I don't care about the top stuff. I go to data sort, and I want highest to lowest. So see how I did that data sort, Z to A. So this is showing me the top zip codes where everybody's buying in the last 6 months. You can see that 74012 is, the number one zip code. Where I would focus my marketing efforts would probably be like somewhere around here. I would just do everything maybe above 12. You could even choose above 10 if you really want to. Like you can go like that. But these zip codes are telling me not as desirable, not as many investors are buying in these areas. Tulsa's very spotty. So Tulsa has an area that is extremely high end, like mansions. Pretty sure that's right here. Not a lot of investors are buying rentals there. They're not buying flip properties there. These are people living there. So that's why they didn't really pull up. They also have an area called North Tulsa where basically you have to pay someone to buy a house there. The values are very low. Investors don't like it. It's very high crime. The properties go for like $10,000. So a lot of North Tulsa zips are in here. So these are like the good zip codes where investors are buying. So I would focus my marketing efforts on these zip codes only, saving me a lot of money in marketing, in list costs and time, not marketing to, all the sellers that are in these other zip codes, because there's, thousands of them. So you'd be talking to a lot of sellers making offers, but not really being successful in them. They would be properties that don't really make sense for you to be marketing to in the first place. So that's it, guys. That's the ninja trick. Hope you got a lot out of that one. So that's it, guys. If you liked this video, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. If you want to learn more about wholesaling and you're looking for a coach, check out my program at www.virtualinvestingmastery.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.